To all my girls and boys with borderline personality disorder, come to the front. I want to talk to you. I want to help you regulate your emotions using neuroscience. Hi, my name is Nike. Not Nike. I study all things neuroscience. And this is a very vulnerable post for me because I promised myself that I would never talk about it publicly because I don't want it to define me. But when I was 26, I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. And as we all know, borderline personality disorder is, I think, I personally think, the worst mental illness you can be diagnosed of. A lot of therapists do not take us on. A lot of psychiatrists will not take us on. And they essentially tell you when they diagnose you that it's a life sentence and that you must use yourself because you're going to have the most difficult life. And so you spend your whole life knowing that you didn't do it to yourself. Someone caused that trauma in you. And exactly 10 years later, I am in complete remission. And what does that mean? It means my borderline personality disorder does not flare up anymore. My splitting does not flare up. My rage, every now and again, can still be triggered, but I know how to manage it very well. So I'm going to teach you how to manage yours using neuroscience. First of all, I want to say BPD is not bipolar disorder. They're very different. And having bipolar is actually much easier to live with than borderline. When you have borderline personality disorder, it's like riding emotional waves that you just can't get off. It's like a roller coaster. One day you're calm. 1 second you're calm. The next second you're in complete rage. The next second you literally want to end your life. And then 5 minutes later you're the happiest person ever. And people are like, oh my God, that girl's bipolar. I'm not bipolar. You know, like I just can't manage my emotions. And so it took me 10 years. It took me 10 years. And if I can do it, so can you. The first thing I want you to do is to not think of your BPD as something negative. I want you to think of it as a gift, a curse that's one put on you. But I want you to think of it as a gift. Because when you have borderline personality disorder, this is hard. I'm just using this to soothe myself. As you know, we need that. When you have BPD, all it is that you feel everything deeply. Everything. You feel it 100 times more than anyone else. Marsha Lane, who wrote the book about DPT, once said, think of someone who has BPD as someone who's constantly fighting a 3rd-degree burn. We don't have the outer layer of the skin. It's off. And it's like someone's always pouring hot oil on that 3rd-degree burn. We feel everything so deeply and we're very sensitive. But that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing, that we're very sensitive, that we can feel everything. Just so I can explain this very clearly, I wrote it down for you guys, okay? Here's what's happening in your brain when you're splitting or you're going through a BPD rage. Your amygdala, the emotional alarm system, it fires very strongly. It tells you this is dangerous, this is urgent, especially when you're feeling rejected or you feel like someone's abandoning you. But your prefrontal cortex, the part that always slows things down, helps you think and helps you respond. It doesn't catch up right away. Everyone else's brain, it catches up right away. It tells them that's ridiculous. For us, it takes a long time for it to kick in. That's why emotions can feel overwhelming and out of control. The most prominent thing that shows up in people who have BPD is called splitting, and that's something that I battled for years. Meaning we see everything in black and white. We see the world as good or bad. There's no nuances. There aren't gray areas. We either really love you or we really hate you. That there's just nothing in between. We have this thing called favorite people or favorite things. We like something, we're obsessed with it, and when we're done being obsessed with it, we hate it with every passion in us. And that is the most important thing that you want to be able to manage and control, because if you can control your splitting, you can control everything else about your BPD. Because my loves, life is full of gray. And when you can notice those gray, those nuances, and you can manage them and you can enjoy them, that's when you start to healing. That's when you get to remission. Nothing a therapist could have done for me could have cured my BPD. No therapy, no book, no DBT, nothing was working until I studied neuroscience, because I understand neuroplasticity. And with neuroplasticity, you can rewire your brain at any point. So here are a few practices that I want you to do with me in the next few months, and then come back and tell me if they work, okay? Based on neuroscience. This is not therapy. This is neuroscience. 1, you're going to do deep breathing. I want you to do slow inhales and even slower exhales, and that will control your amygdala. it tells your amygdala you're safe. So when you're splitting on someone or you're about to go into that rage, I want you to go, hold it, and then number 2, when you feel that rage coming on, that BPD rage or that splitting, I want you to do some grounding exercises, and this one works so well for me. I want you to try to notice 5 things you can see, 4 things you can feel, 3 things you can hear, and 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. I want you to do that right when you feel that thing coming up. I want you to do that right away. This brings your brain back into the present moment. I want you to practice so much self-compassion. You know why? Because it's the only, I think the only mental illness, and one of the only mental illness, I don't even believe in that anymore, but that someone had to do it to you. You didn't do it to yourself. Okay, at one point you came in contact with malevolence. You came in contact with the devil. That's what causes BPD. You came in contact with something so evil that it rewires your brain completely. And that's not your fault. So I want you to speak to yourself like you would to someone you deeply love, right? Because you love yourself. I want you to literally activate the calming circuits in your brain by saying so many kind things to yourself every single day. Also, bonus point, get the DBT workbook on Amazon. I think you can get it on there, and do it yourself at home. I don't believe in therapy, but I'm also in remission. But it's really great because it helps you regulate your emotions, it helps you tolerate distress, and it helps you improve your interpersonal relationships, which we have so much issues with when you have BPD. The journey of someone who has BPD will never be easy, but it's possible to be in remission. It's not going to happen overnight, but if you keep practicing, you can rewire your brain and you can create new neural pathways. And talk about this publicly because someone told me they were going to out me for having BPD, which at this point, I can't be canceled. You can't out me. Like, I will tell the story myself before you tell it, okay? When I was in the throes of my BPD, I did so many bad things, and I know that. Like, I was just... you couldn't control my emotions, and I used those emotions to do a lot of horrible things in my life, and I own them, and I've paid my debt. I paid that karma in full. Use more like Pete Davidson, Trisha Paytas. There are so many celebrities who came out and said they have BPD and they're thriving in their lives. I'm one of them. I'm thriving. I'm in complete remission. The chances of my emotions controlling my life moving forward is slim to none. I want you to know this. Your brain can learn peace at any point. Splitting doesn't mean you're broken or you're evil, okay? It means that those intense emotions are just there to protect you. You're not doomed. You're human. You're sensitive. You're so loved. That's what girls like us want to hear the most, and boys like us want to hear the most. You are so deeply loved by me, by God, by people, okay? You're not a bad person. And with gentleness with yourself, with consistency and with practice, you can create a calmer and more stable life. But